So you were saying about seminarians. So people that go to seminary, they read the Gospel of Mark sometimes once a day. And obviously you had to make a choice between Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. And the book goes quite into the history of the Gospel of Mark. And so let me ask you this. Can you talk a little bit about the historical reliability of the Gospels and how they match up to, say, other documents that came out around the same time?
Yeah, and that's an important point. So when you look at any historical document, you have to compare it to other documents in the same literary genre, right? So when we look at the Gospels, they're most like ancient Greco-Roman biographies. So we have to compare them to other ancient Greco-Roman biographies to be fair. And now scholars might point to a few that they like to use better, but the problem with them is that nobody knows who these people are. So I like to use Alexander the Great, because Alexander the Great is a person of history that most people won't deny existed. They also know who he is. So Alexander the Great died in 323 BC, yet nothing is written about him until 30 BC. And that's not even a biography just about him like the Gospels are to Jesus. It's in a library of history.
So 300 years went by before anybody wrote anything about it.
Yeah, 300 years. And it's not until 100 AD that Plutarch writes a biography solely about him, Life of Alexander. So we're waiting 400 years, about 400 years, to get anything, a biography written about Alexander the Great. So when we look at the Gospels, in this case the Gospel of Mark, that is written between 50 and 70 AD. So worst case scenario, it's only 40 years after Jesus' crucifixion, much closer to date, a better primary document than anything for Alexander.